Okay, I'm going to show you the different types of light you can use in Maya. It's going to ignore ambient light for the time being, start off with directional light. So, as the name suggests, directional light has a direction. Translation doesn't affect it. And if you change the direction, it changes the way the light's hitting the surface, as you can see. So moving on from the directional light, you then have the point light, which is affected by its position, because the point light is essentially a point in space. But this time, it's not affected by its orientation. So that's the key difference between directional and point lights. So the next one is the spotlight. Spotlight has a variety of different features. Instead of shading the surface, it sort of creates like a spotlight. You've got the sort of disc that you would expect to see from a spotlight. It's probably easier if I show you that on a plane. So now if we render this, you can see that you get the sort of elliptical shape that you'd expect from a spotlight. So that's if you want sort of dramatic lighting, it's that kind of effect. And got these sort of parameters. Cone angle is the most important one for a spotlight. That affects its how big this area here is going to be. But yeah, again you've got shadows, and it's basically these three parameters here that affect the shape. But that's all you really need to know about spotlights. Area lights are another sort of special type of light. They sort of project a certain shape of light. Not sure quite what's going on there, the light's reflecting, but the shape of the light has a shape this time. If you're using mental ray, then you can use the light shape, which is in this case a rectangle. So if I change over to mental ray, you would expect that to be sort of more rectangular, but in this case it doesn't seem to be working. But if I show you this, you can see you can change to disc, sphere, cylinder, and if I press visible, this should render out the light as a cylinder. Yeah, there you are. So the light is now, rather than being an implicit point, it is now a physical object in the world, as it were. So you could use this for a light bulb, for example. So sphere, and then render that, you'd have sort of light bulb type thing, or a sun or a moon, or something that is both physical and emits light. Well, so that's area lights. And finally, volume lights. Volume lights are pretty in-depth. You have to know kind of what you're doing with volume lights before you start using them. Usually used for things like fog. This, yeah, black, nothing. But yeah, they take quite a lot of setting up. But you're probably best off sticking with point lights, which are easy to work with, than maybe spotlights, directional lights. And ambient light, all that does is it just sort of adds light to everywhere, sort of equally. So it doesn't really do that much. But if you decide that you need to change a light to something different, you can just go here and change it to an area light, or white light, for example. So if you don't want to make another light, you've already got it set up, you just change it. And that's pretty much it really about lights in Maya. Very basic introduction.